In a cozy little town where the mornings were filled with laughter and the smell of freshly brewed coffee, there was a man named John. His coffee was more than a drink, it was an experience. He could brew joy into every cup. One morning, John brewed his signature pot for his best friend. As soon as the friend took a sip, his eyes widened. He said, setting the cup down with a satisfied sigh, "Bro, you've made the best coffee I've ever had." John laughed it off, but felt a flicker of pride. The next day, he offered coffee to his girlfriend, and she said, "This is amazing, John. You should open a cafe." The compliments poured in day after day. Friends, neighbors, even casual visitors raved about John's coffee. With each kind word, his confidence grew. Slowly, he began to believe that he wasn't just a good coffee maker, he was the best coffee maker in the world. So John decided to test his skills against the town's renowned coffee shop, celebrated for its exceptional brews. He ordered their signature cup, but to his surprise, the coffee tasted wrong. It wasn't because the coffee was bad, it was his inflated self-confidence casting doubt on anything that wasn't his own creation. He became determined to find coffee better than his. He traveled across the town, the region, and eventually the world, tasting coffees from different cultures and traditions. Yet, with every sip, he found something to criticize. Too bitter, too weak, not as smooth as his. The more he compared, the more dissatisfied he became. He started to feel grumpy and lonely because he wouldn't listen to anyone else. He even stopped spending time with his friends because they didn't agree with him. His relentless quest for the best coffee isolated him. He rejected others' efforts, dismissed every recommendation, and gradually found himself alone. Soon, John was alone. His once vibrant home, filled with laughter and the smell of coffee, was now quiet and cold. One evening, weary from his journey, he sat in his empty room. Suddenly, he looked back and found his coffee machine. He decided to make coffee for himself. As he sipped, he noticed something different, a bitterness he had never tasted in his coffee before. It wasn't from the coffee, but from his own frustration and pride. Looking into his cup, he saw a reflection, not of a great coffee maker, but of a man consumed by comparison and doubt. Slowly, it dawned on him. The flaw was never in the coffee, but in his perspective. Memories flooded back. He thought about all the different coffees he had tasted, and he realized that each one was special in its own way. He had been too busy trying to prove he was right to actually enjoy the coffee. Finally, John understood that the problem wasn't the coffee he'd tasted on his journey, it was his inability to appreciate it. For the first time in months, John smiled. He took another sip, not to judge it, but to enjoy it. In that moment, he learned a simple truth. The best coffee wasn't about being the best. It was about savoring the experience, the flavors, and the connections it created. The next day, John called his friends and invited them over. He brewed a pot of coffee, poured it into their cups, and listened to their laughter as they chatted about their lives. As he sipped his coffee, John thought, "This is what I've been missing, not perfection, but connection." In real life, we often get so caught up in trying to be the best that we forget to enjoy the little things, the moments that truly matter. We overlook the joy of simply being present, savoring our surroundings, and cherishing the company of those around us. So next time you find yourself chasing perfection, pause for a moment. Take a step back and remember, sometimes life's greatest pleasures come from simply enjoying the journey.